If you've ever seen a termite inspection report, you know that they are ugly, difficult to read, and almost impossible to understand unless you have been specifically trained on how to read termite inspection reports. It's not uncommon to talk to a realtor who deals with multiple termite inspection reports on a daily basis, and they still don't understand how to read them or how to answer basic questions about the information being reported. I can help you out. First, it should be noted that most termite control companies will follow basically the same format and template for their termite inspection reports. That's because the state agency that governs all of us, the Structural Pest Control Board, has given us direct and specific guidelines to the formatting and even some of the content that all termite inspection reports in California have to follow. So don't blame the termite control company for how difficult it is to navigate through one of these reports. Chances are they are trying to comply with the state's mandated format. The good news is that most reports are standardized. Give me just the next couple of minutes and you'll be able to answer at least 80% of questions on any termite inspection report that is properly formatted to the current state's guidelines. Let's start with the first page. Here's an example of a real termite inspection report. We've redacted the address and contact information to protect the customer's privacy. The first line is the address of the property specifically inspected. The second line is the contact information of the termite control company who performed the inspection. In this line, you will see the name of the company performing the inspection, their address, telephone number, and the company's license number. In the lower right corner of this box, you will see the unique report number that is specific to this company. This is the number the company will reference when discussing your individual inspection report. Note, if you have multiple companies inspect your property, each company will have a unique report number for their system to reference. This line is customer contact information. The first box is the information of the person who requested the inspection. The second box is the information of the property owner or contact information of the current occupant. The third box is the contact information to whom the report was sent. If you're a homeowner requesting an inspection for your own property, all three of these boxes will have the same information. In escrow transactions, you may have different contact information in each of these boxes. For example, let's say one of my favorite realtors, Enrique Vique or Jeremy Conrad, may order a termite inspection of my house that is listed for sale. And that report will go directly to the escrow officer handling the transaction. These last few lines of this part of the report contain a lot of important information. This line is actually very important in that it sets any limitations that may be attributed to the report. You will notice that this line indicated whether the report is a complete report, a limited report, a supplemental report, or a re-inspection report. This part is a general description of the structure inspected. This information is really only useful when a crew returns to perform work on the property. It helps to verify the property referenced before commencing any work. In California, regulations require that termite inspectors leave a tag somewhere on site of the property inspected. This section tells you where in the structure you can find the inspection tag. Here's a key of codes that will correspond to the findings of this particular inspection. In this little snippet of the report alone, you can get a general idea of what was found. You will notice that all codes that start with the number 1 correspond to findings of subterranean termites. All codes that start with the number 2 correspond to findings of drywood termites. All codes beginning with 3 correspond to findings of fungus or dry rot. All codes starting with 4 correspond to other types of findings. This may be findings that are not infestations of termites, but issues that could be conducive to a termite infestation in the future. For example, a faulty grade level or signs of excessive water exposure on certain wood members. Codes beginning with 5 are issues that need a more thorough look. This could be areas of the structure that were inaccessible for inspection, such as a locked attic space. It could also be an area exhibiting evidence of termite infestation that cannot be thoroughly inspected. For example, termites swarming out of a chimney flue. There are not many, but every now and then you may run into a report that has codes that exceed the number 5 going up to 11 or so. This is an old and also acceptable format in termite inspection reports. In this specific report, you can see that the boxes for drywood termite and fungus dry rot are checked and nothing else. From this, you can see that at the time of inspection for this particular structure, there were findings related to drywood termites and fungus dry rot, but no issues with subterranean termites or other potential issues of concern. The final third of the first page of an inspection report will be an aerial view diagram of the structure inspected, the name of the termite inspector, their license number as registered with the Structural Pest Control Board, and their signature, often a digital version of their signature. In the diagram of the structure, you will see each finding and code placed in the general area where the particular finding occurs. For example, from looking at this diagram, it looks like they have some sort of porch where the front door is, an alley-like or side yard space on the right, a sliding door in the back with a big window next to it. If you were to take the front porch area, you would see that we have codes 2A, 2E, and 3C mentioned 2 times. Based on what you know of the code key, you know that findings 2A and 2E correspond to drywood termites, and finding 3C corresponds to fungus or dry rot. To get details on what each code means for your specific termite inspection report, you will have to delve into the description of findings that we will discuss shortly. Keep in mind, diagrams are not standard. Most of the time, they only make sense when you are familiar with the layout and the footprint of the property being inspected. Each inspector will choose to include or omit as much detail as they like. More detail helps to provide context and helps others pinpoint the locations of each finding. So far, you can see whether the inspection report you're looking at is based on a complete or limited inspection of the property, just looking at the first page. You can also immediately tell whether or not the structure has drywood termites, subterranean termites, or fungus dry rot issues anywhere in the property. Also, using the diagram, you can tell what findings correspond to what areas of the structure that you're looking at. And this is all just from the first page of the termite inspection report. You're now ready to get into the nitty-gritty. Pages 2 and 3 of termite inspection reports tend to be legalese and disclaimers, such as, "We did not move furniture at the time of inspection," or "Mold is not a wood-destroying organism, therefore this inspection did not include looking for and noting mold," or "You have the right to a second opinion," and on and on and on. Usually around page 4 of a termite inspection report, you will get to what is known as the description of findings. In this section, you will find the details corresponding to each finding that will include the type of finding, the extent of the issue, and details regarding the location of the finding, the affected wood member type, and the recommended course of action. Let's take findings 2A and 2B, for example. By now, you know that both these findings correspond to an occurrence of drywood termites because the code starts with the number 2. Each letter refers to an occurrence type of finding and is unique to each report. A type of finding of drywood termites can basically fall into 2 categories. It is either 1, a finding of drywood termite infestation, or 2, finding of damage caused by a termite infestation. In this case, you will note that 2A refers to the finding of evidence of drywood termites in several areas, including the attic, windows, fascia, moldings, and trims and jambs. In this particular case, the recommended treatment is to seal and fumigate the structure for drywood termite eradication. For this report, Code 2B refers to damage to second-story fascia boards caused by drywood termites. The recommended course of action for this particular finding is to remove and replace the affected wood member, and then prime and paint the new wood member to match the surrounding areas. You will note that the code includes specifications of the lumber type, fascia, the location, second story, and the dimensions, including the linear feet of affected lumber, 2 by 12 by 10. This level of detail is essential to ensuring the greatest value in ROI when taking on the task of performing the necessary repairs. Compare that to inspectors who do not provide the same level of detail. For the sake of an example, let's pretend that you got 2 reports from 2 companies, and one of the report's descriptions of the findings simply said fascia. And let's say the recommended course of action said something like repair or remove and replace affected wood member as necessary. If you were to accept the scope of the proposed repairs in our report, you would know exactly what you are getting. You're getting removal of 10 feet of 2 by 12 second story fascia, a full replacement with new lumber, and priming and painting to match. In the second hypothetical report, it is unclear how much wood is being addressed since no dimensions are given. Are they talking about 1 foot of fascia, 10 feet of fascia, 100 feet of fascia? It is unclear if the scope calls for removing and replacing new wood, or if they intend to repair the damaged wood by filling it with Bondo or another filler putty. It's important to note that any code beginning with 2 is related to drywood termites, but 2A does not always mean finding of drywood termite infestation. The inspector could have noted damage caused by termites first, calling the termite damage 2A and the infestation 2B. In this particular case, drywood termites were so rampant in so many different locations of the house, such as the attics, the eaves, etc., and in so many different types of wood members like molding, fascia, trims, that it was best for the sake of readability of the report that all drywood termite infestations were lumped into one code, in this case 2A. This will not always be the case. Each report is unique and different, and each inspector will choose to order the code findings differently. In order to understand the details of the findings of each report, you will have to consult each report's description of findings. We continue to be Southern California's preferred termite and pest control service provider. We pride ourselves in being the #1 provider of dependable and convenient pest control services so you can enjoy home. Schedule a termite inspection with one of our local termite inspectors at www.termitepro.us or contact us at 1-844-GOT.